Good day, my little robins. It's me, Beth. Another week has passed, which means you get another video from, well, me, and I'm back with another album review. The album in question is The Shadow Theory by Kamelot. This is the band's 12th studio album and the third album featuring, lead vocalist Tommy. I love this album so much. It was released on the 6th of April 2018 here in the UK. I don't know if that was like an international release date, but I got this on the day it came out. The guest vocalists on this album are Lauren Hart from Once Human and Jennifer Haben from Beyond the Black, and can I just say, I'm gonna just be a little bit biased in this intro. This is one of my favourite albums so far of 2018. I know there are quite a few albums yet to come, but this is already, up there for my, top spot at the end of the year. Before we begin this review, if you want to support me and the channel, you can by clicking like to show me some love. You can also click that subscribe button because, well, nothing's stopping you because I upload weekly. Enough rambling, let's just dive right into this Kamelot, The Shadow Theory album review. Now for me, the theme of the album seems to focus a lot, around AIs and the psychological aspect of our minds and lives as, the world continues to change around us, at a rapid pace. In an interview, guitarist Youngblood, when talking about the album, said that The Shadow Theory wasn't a full concept album, like a previous album, Silverthorn, but it was more like a hybrid with, my favourite Kamelot album, Haven, which had me thinking, okay, I approve. Silverthorn, great album. Haven, great album. The fact that, The Shadow Theory is a bit of a hybrid, and by hybrid he said he meant that you could listen to any song in any order. You didn't have to listen to them, in a certain order, to get a message. They wanted to create an album where, there was a story, a little bit of a concept, but it, wasn't so heavy that, it was a full-on concept album, and I can appreciate that because I am a big fan of concept albums, don't get me wrong. I love when a band, execute them very well. But if Kamelot put out probably another full concept album, I might start to question them and get a bit annoyed. I love concept albums, but I'm happy because I can listen to, any song in any order, despite the fact that when I actually do play it, I do listen to the songs in order, just because that's how I listen to an album. Some of the songs on the album, personally for me, when I listened to them, I got a hint of, the Black Halo album, which is a great Kamelot album and is considered by, some fans, to be one of their finest albums, the band have ever released. Now for me, Kamelot are a band, that seem to know the symphonic / power metal genre very well, to the point that they can mix old sounds, with new sounds, to create something fresh to keep fans coming back for more. Kamelot, as a band, they know how to appeal to old fans. They also know, how to get the right balance with new fans, without isolating one or the other, which I think is a lesson, that some other bands, can take away from this. I know quite a few bands, that I really love, that I have loved for years. They release new music, they release a new sound, and they're trying to appeal to a new audience, and they kind of leave the old audience in the dust. Kamelot appreciate, their fan base, they seem very active on social media, and I want to support bands, who kind of give a crap about their fans, both old and new. The Shadow Theory has a runtime of 52 minutes and 13 songs, which personally for me seems a healthy amount and kind of what I would expect from Kamelot. But one thing, that took me by surprise, when I've listened to the album multiple times on repeat, is I never once found myself getting bored of the music or the songs or the lyrics, which is very rare because sometimes on multiple listens I can kind of get bored, and want to skip songs. But when I was actually listening, oh, sunlight, to this album, I found that each time I listened to the songs, I was able to discover a new layer to the music. I don't know if that was done intentionally, but being able to discover something new each time you listen to one of the songs on the album gives this album amazing potential, playback, which is what a band wants. If the band wants views on Spotify, it wants listens, if you can release an album, that makes people just, keep click and repeat, you've done something well. and I know personally, for me, I have listened to this album non-stop this weekend, much to the annoyance of my flatmate. As I mentioned in the intro, there were 2 guest vocalists on this album, Lauren Hart from the band One Human and Jennifer Haben from Beyond the Black. Now for me, I love these 2 ladies, you know, as a whole. I love both their bands, but something Kamelot do very well is when they choose their, you know, guest vocalists for an album, they pick vocalists, you know, who are best able, you know, to portray the lyrics, you know, the story. They can put their own spin on it without overpowering, you know, the main focus, which is the band. Jennifer and Lauren, you know, their songs on this album are, you know, some of my favourites, and they might not appear, you know, that often on the song, you know, like a little bit here and there. It's just the right amount of guest vocalists. Also for me, it wouldn't be a Kamelot album if it didn't have, you know, at least 1 guest vocalist, and here they have 2 amazing ladies, you know. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say. I love the songs. I love the ladies. Kamelot, keep getting good guest vocalists. Now, if I had to pick my 3 favourite songs on the album, they would be Raven Light, Stories Unheard and In Twilight Hours, though all the songs on this album, you know, had the potential, you know, to be my favourite, but these for me are the 3 songs that stand out for me, that I constantly find myself, you know, being drawn to. Great songs, moving on. Just to end this review, if I had to give The Shadow Theory by Kamelot a rating out of 5, it's getting a solid 5 out of 5, and you know why? It's a beautiful listen start to finish, and you can hear the band evolving. That's what I like most, is Kamelot. They know their genre, they know their sound, but they're continuing, you know, to push the boundaries. I highly recommend, you know, you go out there and, you know, buy this album, or, you know, listen to it on Spotify, or if you've never heard of Kamelot before, go check out their back catalogue. You will not be disappointed. They are a band that never failed to impress me. So, there we have it, guys and girls of the internet. That was just my album review of The Shadow Theory by Kamelot. I hope you guys, you know, liked it. In the comments below, I'd love to hear, you know, your guys' thoughts and opinions on the band, the album. What are your favourite songs? Let's start a conversation in the comments while you're down there. You can also check out all the links to my social media, because why the hell not? You can click like to show me some love. You can tap my face right here to subscribe to the channel because I upload weekly. You can check out my last 2 videos or playlists right here depending what mood I'm in when I'm editing this. Whew, that was a mouthful. Until next time, I am Beth. Keep listening to good music. Goodbye.